The release of Silent Hill F is imminent by this stage. The game is set to launch on September 25th, which is just over a month away. And with this, Konami have begun sharing much more news and info regarding the game's story, characters, combat, and overall game mechanics. At the start of the month, many big game publications got a chance to play Silent Hill F for a few hours, to which we were able to gather a lot of info on the game. Alongside that, Konami have showcased a new story trailer at Gamescom, which revealed the game's English voice acting, including the main actress who will play Hinako, alongside a seemingly new important character. The new gameplay info is very interesting. However, the story trailer has intrigued me most, as this game's story is still very much unknown to us. So in this video, I'll be taking everything new for Silent Hill F, breaking it down for you, and also share my thoughts, opinions and theories as we move towards this game's launch. Let us start now with the story trailer. The trailer opens with a crime scene being investigated by the police. The area is a gruesome mess with blood just everywhere. We can also see a damaged bloody metal pipe that's marked as evidence. Over the radio, we can make out some words, but it's not fully coherent, but we hear that someone has fled to a nearby shrine. While this opener may seem small, this greatly sets a new tone for this game. Who I presume caused this crime scene, I will get into much later when I discuss my own personal theories. The trailer then cuts to Hinako waking up. We can hear a voice speaking to her. This person says that Hinako saved his life, and that he will now save Hinako's soul by claiming the life of her old self, which is a very mysterious opening message. The game in previous trailers has mentioned themes such as change as you grow older. Is this in relation to that, or something entirely different? This here is when we are first introduced to the English voice actor for Silent Hill F's Hinako. Hinako is going to be played by Suzy Young. She is a well-established actress in gaming and anime. Media I know her from includes Makima in the English dub of Chainsaw Man. She also then voices Fuka in Persona 3 Reload, which I'm currently playing, by the way. That game is excellent. So it's great to see a voice actress pop up here who I'm already a big fan of. We then see someone who are presumed to be the voice from the start of the trailer, guiding Hinako through a dark alley filled with torii gates. We then get to see some more gameplay, which shows Hinako fighting enemies with the Naginata, a pole weapon with a curved blade on the end. We also get a better look at the shrine area, which was briefly seen in previous trailers. And the atmosphere here looks incredible. The setting of a Japanese shrine is of course a first for the Silent Hill franchise, and I feel like it's going to be a perfect fit. We next get an extended look at the town of Ebisugoka, and man, this being our main locale for the game is really exciting. I've already talked about how cool the game's setting is, that overworld Japanese village, so I won't go on about it again. But the atmosphere here looks incredible. Hinako then says that we need to get ready and that it's time to say our goodbyes. She then says that we are going to kill them with our own hands.
With your own hands.
Just after that is said, a bloody battle damaged Hinako walks into frame. Is this her speaking to herself or just a coincidence? I'll let you decide that one. Hinako next sounds panicked, remarking that it's got her home. Seemingly, she is talking about the other world, which seems to be spreading all through the town of Ebisugoka. Oddly enough, a phone then abruptly starts to ring out, which the trailer then focuses on for a few seconds, and I feel like there is some significance to this phone call. We then, in the most important moment of the trailer, see Hinako encounter a doppelganger of herself. This is a common trend in the Silent Hill franchise, that of the main character's model being used through the game for story or game dev reasons. However, if anything, it reminds me most of the memory of Alyssa boss from Silent Hill 3. Will it be the same case here? Who knows? We next hear Hinako seemingly ask us to please just die.
Please. Just die.
We then get a full look at our guide and voice from earlier, who wears a white robe, a white fox mask that features some creepy eyes to boot. The foxman then asks Hinako if it's hard to bid farewell to childhood friends.
It must be hard for you to bid farewell to childhood friends.
Which is a theme that was expressed and mentioned in prior trailers, although not in this way. Hinako responds by saying yes, but the tone suddenly changes. She remarks then that it had to be done, and as soon as she could. This is all said while the camera pans to a shrine that looks as if a slaughter took place inside. Blood spatter covers the walls and floor, which gives the prior sentence, "it had to be done," a whole different meaning. In what way did Hinako bid farewell to her friends? The atmosphere and vibes this trailer gave off are really unlike prior ones. It's darker and has a different atmosphere. It feels almost like we see a different side of Hinako here. Now taking a look at the gameplay previews from earlier in the month, we get a lot of new info. Generally, these reviews were very positive and full of praise for Silent Hill F. Reviews bring up the game's immense atmosphere multiple times at that, and it seems unique, but fits well in the series as a whole. While these previews don't delve into the story details too much, we can see, for example, from IGN's preview, they mention how the story starts with Hinako running away after being scolded by her drunken father. Other publications also labelled him as abusive. This then made me piece together a theory that I'll get into later on. A very promising piece of info is how in IGN's preview, the reviewer described how the cast of characters, Hinako's friends, all seem normal at first. However, they can suddenly do or say something off and a little strange, which in my mind brings me back to the characters and cast of Silent Hill 2, with their odd, uncanny nature. Moving to the combat, we get some interesting info regarding it. For one, weapon durability will be featured in this game. Now I personally have not yet played any of the Silent Hill games that feature weapon durability, so Silent Hill 4, Origins and Downpour. I don't know how that fits with Silent Hill, but I don't personally mind weapon durability in games. It's also mentioned that you can find repair kits to repair your broken weapons, so they aren't lost forever. Speaking of combat, as it was previously confirmed, Silent Hill F will be a purely melee only Silent Hill game, featuring no firearms. And I'm fine with that personally. As long as the combat is fun to control and feels good, that's all that matters. However, there is some guns I would have liked to see which are related to the game's setting. One that comes to mind is the Nambu Model 60, a small revolver produced and developed in Japan in 1960, which is still used to this day by Japanese police. I understand Japan's very strict gun laws, especially around the 1960s. However, I believe the M60 would fit well here. Something that was a pleasant surprise to hear about is the introduction of a currency in-game called Fate. This currency can be found or gained by exchanging items for it, and with Fate, this can be used to increase your stats or obtain new amulets that can be equipped to give you certain buffs. An interesting gameplay mechanic that will have players decide whether to bring more health items or sacrifice them for potential upgrades. Now, combat itself looks like it takes at least some inspiration from Bloober Team's Silent Hill 2 remake. However, the impact is a little weird. Not only is there this slowdown effect on every hit, but also sometimes it looks like your attacks are weightless, and this is my main concern, so I hope that when playing, combat feels much better than how it looks. In IGN's preview, they state this: Silent Hill F scenario writer Ryokishi07 sees Japanese horror as a subgenre that doesn't so much rely on the threat to the protagonist's life, but rather makes you feel uncomfortable by creating situations that feel off. And honestly, this is so comforting to hear, as this sounds directly in line with prior entries in the franchise. Ryokishi07 is a big part of Silent Hill F, and his fame that's attached to his name from the When They Cry series has made me very excited to see his version of Silent Hill. There is also two other critical parts of the combat I should mention. Firstly, there is a stamina bar tied to Hinako's attacks, and when I heard this, I didn't have a bad reaction to it. Since, for example, in Cry of Fear, during melee combat, you often drain your stamina quickly and need to manage it, so having it here in a Silent Hill game, I feel it can work well. To pair with the stamina bar is Hinako's mental energy gauge, a separate bar that decreases when enemies do something that scares her or when she is frightened by a certain event. And if this bar reaches 0, she can become so frightened that she won't be able to move for a while, which sounds like a sick mechanic if you're asking me. Looking at Silent Hill F, compared to the only other modern Silent Hill game, I personally like the juxtaposition between Hinako and James Sunderland. James is a 6 foot tall American man who is armed with many firearms and can infinitely attack in melee combat, but Hinako is a much smaller teenage girl who can just barely use melee weapons. In Silent Hill 2 Remake, it was very easy to just push through everything in your way, but in Silent Hill F, the design here is to make players feel vulnerable, which I'm all for. And to end this off, in terms of the game's endings, it's said that there will be 5 different endings to the game, including the infamous UFO ending making a return. Although, upon your first playthrough, players will be locked into the one canon ending, which I'm personally okay with. Now that's a lot of juicy info I've given you from this month's previews, so I thought I'd then round things off with my own personal thoughts and theories on the game and its story. For my thoughts, a month out from release, I'm extremely excited for this game. So far, I mean, it's looking incredible, and I just can't wait to get it in my hands and start making videos for you all. However, I'm now kinda torn. I've gotten used to how the Japanese voice actors sound and felt, that despite the great talent chosen in English, it just feels out of place. And I can't help but wonder what I will decide to play come the release of the game. Maybe you can help me decide that in the comments below. In terms of my theories, I have 2. One, I think that Hinako killed her friends at the end of the story trailer, which is pretty apparent, but I can't guess quite why or how she did it. There's gotta be a reason, of course. Did they do something awful to her? Or did she simply snap one day due to her abusive household? To go with that abusive household theme I just mentioned, in the intro of the story trailer, we see a crime scene, which to me, I think we have another Angela situation on our hands. If you don't already know, Angela in Silent Hill 2 was abused at the hands of her brother and primarily her father. One day she snapped and killed her dad, which leads her to Silent Hill. Which leads me to believe that Hinako has a similar story, with an abusive father whom she snaps and kills, which her crime scene is then shown at the start of the trailer. If this is the case, I'm very interested in seeing how Hinako as a character grows over the course of the game. Aside from these theories, I'm very intrigued by the Foxman shown in the trailer. I've heard some people describe him as an antagonist, but I didn't get any signs of that from this trailer. What exactly is his role in Silent Hill F? I don't know, but I assume it's a big integral part of the game. Maybe it's a protector or guide of sorts, maybe even similar to that of Valtiel from Silent Hill 3. For my closing thoughts, I'm super excited for Silent Hill F. Its story, gameplay and characters have me so intrigued, and I really hope this can be the next big game in the franchise, one to be held in the same regards as that of Silent Hill 2 and 3. However, we won't have to wait long to find out, since September 25th is just around the corner. I have a lot planned for Silent Hill F, and I'm so excited to just seal myself away and cover every bit of this game, so make sure you are subscribed to see all that. Anyways, that's going to be all from me now. Please take care of yourself, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Peace.